Randy Orton just went nuclear on Cody Rhodes backstage after SmackDown, and what he demanded is going to change the entire trajectory of the Backlash storyline. If you care about where this feud is headed next, you need to watch this breakdown, and you absolutely don't have to miss it. We're breaking down every detail of what just went down and what it means for the road to WrestleMania. Welcome back to WWE Express, and thank you so much for being here. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell because we drop wrestling analysis like this every single week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next on our channel. Now let's dive straight into this. The tension between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes has been building for weeks now, and what we witnessed backstage after tonight's SmackDown episode is the moment everything boils over. You see, wrestling is about story progression, and storytelling requires these explosive moments where characters reveal their true intentions and emotional investment. That's exactly what happened here, and it's brilliant writing from a narrative standpoint. Think about where Orton has been in recent weeks. The Viper has been positioned as a man caught between loyalty and ambition. He's been part of larger storyline machinations with other players in the WWE universe, but his match against Cody Rhodes represents something deeply personal. It's not just about championship credentials or positioning on the card. It's about respect, about proving that he belongs in conversations with the absolute elite of professional wrestling right now. When Cody Rhodes emerged from that match with his hand raised, it created a wound that couldn't simply be forgotten. Orton is not a man who accepts defeat gracefully when the stakes are this high. He's the legend killer. He's a 13-time world champion. He's one of the most decorated wrestlers in this entire industry. To have someone like Cody Rhodes standing over him, celebrating that victory, that's not something that sits right with the Viper. What made this backstage segment so compelling is that it showed us the raw emotion underneath. This isn't about political maneuvering or alliance building. This is personal. Orton demanded a rematch at Backlash, and he demanded it with the kind of intensity that tells you he's ready to prove something. That's wrestling psychology at its finest. That's how you build a compelling rivalry that keeps fans invested. The psychology here is fascinating. Cody Rhodes is positioned as this conquering hero right now, this unstoppable force who keeps finding ways to overcome adversity. But Orton is essentially saying that one victory doesn't define the narrative. One match doesn't prove who's the better wrestler between these two. And from a fan perspective, that's absolutely right. Sometimes the best stories require multiple chapters, and this feels like we're transitioning into Act 2 of a much larger tale. What Orton is tapping into is something fundamental about championship wrestling. The idea that if you truly believe you're the best, you want another shot. You want the opportunity to prove that the first match was a fluke, or that you've evolved, or that you have something left to prove. That desperation combined with Orton's legitimate pedigree as a main event performer makes this rematch feel essential rather than repetitive. And here's what makes this so smart from WWE's storytelling perspective: Backlash is the perfect stage for this. Backlash has historically been a place where champions and challengers settle scores. It has that throwback feel to it, that sense of championship wrestling history. Putting Orton and Rhodes back in the ring at Backlash with everything they've both established on the line creates a different dynamic than their first encounter. We need to acknowledge that Orton going nuclear backstage actually elevates Cody too. When someone like Randy Orton, with all his experience and accomplishments, gets that rattled about a result, it validates Cody's victory. It says that Cody did something genuinely significant. He didn't just win a match, he rattled one of the greatest wrestlers alive. That's the kind of story that works for both competitors involved. From a character standpoint, this also shows us why Orton remains relevant even in the twilight of his career. He still has that fire. He still cares about proving himself. That's not the attitude of someone who's just collecting a paycheck or going through the motions. That's someone who still believes he's capable of being the main event of the biggest shows. That's compelling television. The demand for a rematch also opens up interesting narrative possibilities. Will Cody accept the challenge? Will there be conditions placed on this match? Could there be stipulations added that make the rematch feel like it's escalating rather than just repeating? These are the kinds of storytelling questions that keep fans speculating and discussing during the week, and that's exactly what WWE wants. What's beautiful about this segment is that it respects the audience's intelligence. It doesn't need a bunch of production elements or interference angles to work. It's just two world-class wrestlers, one of whom is furious about a result, demanding the opportunity to settle things again. That's wrestling at its most fundamental level. That's the kind of story that resonates because it's real within the context of the wrestling world. Orton's intensity here also reminds us why he's been main event caliber for so long. He doesn't need to shout louder than anyone else to command attention. His presence, his history, and his conviction are enough. When Randy Orton says he deserves another match, people listen. That's the benefit of being as accomplished as he is. Now, looking forward, this sets up an incredible opportunity for both men at Backlash. This isn't just a rematch now, it's personal. It's about proving something. It's about settling a score that clearly matters deeply to one of the greatest wrestlers to ever step between those ropes. That changes the energy, the intensity, and the stakes of what fans will see when these two warriors meet again. The backstage segment also tells us something about the direction of WWE storytelling right now. They're willing to let emotions drive narratives. They're not overthinking things with unnecessary complications. Sometimes the simplest stories are the most powerful, and Orton demanding another shot is about as straightforward as it gets. This is the kind of moment that reminds fans why they love professional wrestling. It's about passion, competition, and the desire to prove you're the best. It's about legacy and respect and not accepting defeat when you believe you're destined for something greater. That's the heart of what makes wrestling special, and that's what makes this segment so captivating. We're going to see what happens at Backlash, and honestly, the anticipation is building. Will Orton get his rematch? Will he silence the critics who questioned whether his window had closed? Will Cody Rhodes prove that his victory was definitive, or will Orton finally get the result he's demanding? These are the questions that will carry us forward, and that's the magic of storytelling in professional wrestling. Thank you so much for watching this breakdown with us here at WWE Express. Everything we discussed today proves that professional wrestling is so much more than just athletic competition. It's narrative storytelling at the highest level, and when it's executed this well, it creates moments that fans remember for years to come. Make absolutely sure you're subscribed to WWE Express so you don't miss our coverage of Backlash and all the incredible wrestling content coming your way. We'll see you next time.